Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to change the status of a SmartThings device from Power Automate. In the previous video, I pulled back data from an API directly in Power Automate. This time, I'm going to change the status of a SmartThings device, but I'm going to do so via connector this time. You could also do it directly in Power Automate. I'm just going to show you a different way to do it here. So as you saw in the last video, you can pull back a list of all your devices, and here's my devices, and the first one is white power cord 1, name that myself, and underneath it you'll see capabilities. You see main first is the ID, capabilities, and underneath that you'll see switch, and that's important because we're going to use that to change the status. So we're going to set the body this time, and then we're going to change the URL as well. Let me just grab this off screen. I'm going to change that to a post, obviously. So this is directly from the documentation. This is the device ID. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to do a send. And that's on. So let's go over here. Oh, actually, you know what? It was already on. So let me go back here and change this to off. It was accepted. So one important thing to note here is that when you're testing this, if you try to set it to a status that it's already at, it will not record it here. It only records changes. Okay, so moments ago, changed it to off. Great. So let's wander over to connector. I'm not going to build this from scratch because once again, it takes a long time to register, and it doesn't always go right the first time I found. So you're going to come down here, you're going to create a custom connector, give it a name. Just set this base URL. You don't need the other v1/devices. Go to the next tab. This is important. The type is API key. Parameter label, you can, I don't believe that matters in any way, shape, or form. Parameter name does, because that's going to be what is passed in, let me see if I can find it here. Am I looking for headers or authorization? There it is, authorization, and it's going to be that. So that's going to be a variable that will be filled in later. If we go to the definition, this is where you're going to define actions. You can define one or more actions. We'll see where they'll show up in a second. So I've just named this one power cord toggle because at runtime you can toggle it on or off. You would then come in and do a new request body. And this is also important. You're going to need that same URL that we saw a minute ago in Postman. And then you're going to need the same body parameters. So you would be passing in this. So when it asks you for the schema there, you would just simply copy and paste this. Don't worry about the values. Those are going to be overwritten later. Just looking for schema at this point. And we'll see if we look at that. It's those capability command and component. Then once that is set, you can come in here and test it. So you would create a new test connection here. I've already done that. And then switch. Let me see what the last value was. Okay, it's currently off, so I'm going to turn it on. And it says okay. So let's wait for this to refresh, and it did change a second ago. So that's how you would set the connection up in the back end and test it. Now, if you wanted to actually use this in a flow, you would come over, create your flow, create a whatever trigger you want, manual or scheduled. You would then, and I'll do it here. Actually, let me test it here first. and you would see that this should finish pretty quick. And there it was, test succeeded. As you can see, I had a bunch of fails in there. So what I did here was um, so then to what I actually did in that last step, go back here and edit it. All I did for this step was I went in here, I clicked on custom, you'll see your first your connector, and now the actual activity that you set up. And then once you do that, boom, you have the three inputs that you set up earlier. And I've already forgotten. Okay, it's currently on. I can hear my wife exercising in the background. The TV's on. Let's save that. And then obviously I would be undoing what I just did, but that's how you would set that up. That's the keys to making that work. So in the future, I hope to make something a little bit more advanced where I want to pull back value and store them in a spreadsheet. So that should be in the next video.